Hello, friends, and welcome to my new episode. It's a bright winter's morning here in Southport, England, and I think it's the perfect place for me to do a list of my favorite Christmas movies. There are Christmas carols happening everywhere, and the spirit of Christmas is so evident here in England. And I thought, what venue better than this, and what moment better than this to discuss 12 of my favorite Christmas movies. The movies I want to talk about today all have Christmas as part of the plot. Some of them have Christmas as a very beautiful backdrop of the movie. But these are 12 of my favorite movies in and around Christmas time. Kind of movies which spread the holiday cheer and that festive vibe that we all look for at the end of the year. I wouldn't say that these are the greatest 12 Christmas movies of all time or anything like that, but they're definitely my favorite, my personal favorite 12. And, without wasting more time, I'll get on with the list. At number 12 is the 1990 movie Home Alone, starring Macaulay Culkin. And it also has Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci in important roles. And it's such a heartwarming, wonderful movie, even so many years later, about a little kid who's accidentally left behind home alone by his family during Christmas time, and how he holds the fort all alone at home, and he outwits two dumb and dim-wit criminals, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. And that's what the movie's all about, this little kid fighting his own battles and outdoing these two burglars, whilst his family has unwittingly left him behind all alone at home. It's a wonderful, wonderful feel-good movie, and it hasn't lost a bit of its charm even 30 years later. Home Alone, of course, turned out to be this huge hit and had a lot of sequels after that. But for me, the original Home Alone still remains one of my favorite movies. It's at number 12 in this list. At number 11 is a movie called Happy Christmas. It's directed by Joe Swanberg. And it's a beautiful, feel-good, simple movie about this girl who's been dumped and just before Christmas, and she decides to go to her brother's place and live with her brother's family, causing absolute mayhem and havoc in their family. Anna Kendrick, Melanie Linsky, and Joe Swanberg himself starred in this delightful comedy. Again, a very, very Christmassy and feel-good movie. Simple enough movie, no frills, no fuss. It's at number 11 in my list. At number 10 is a huge, huge favorite yet again. This time it's from 1947, and it's called The Bishop's Wife. And it stars David Niven, Loretta Young, and Cary Grant in the lead roles. David Niven plays this bishop who has this absolutely unflinching passion towards building the perfect cathedral, his dream cathedral. And in the process of pursuing that goal, he neglects his wife. In comes an angel to help him sort his equations with his wife, and the angel is Cary Grant. But what happens instead is Cary Grant himself finds himself drawn towards Loretta Young, and leading to some beautiful romantic and comic moments. And it's a delightful feel-good movie. The chemistry between Loretta Young and Cary Grant is absolutely crackling, and all three of them, are absolutely brilliant in this movie. The Bishop's Wife from 1947, that's at number 10 in my list. At number 9 is another romantic triangle. It's called The Holiday Affair, and it's from 1949. And it stars Wendell Corey, Robert Mitchum, and Janet Leigh in the lead roles. Janet Leigh plays a war widow, and she's in a steady relationship with Wendell Corey. But what happens is she goes as an undercover Christmas shopper in a department store where the salesman is Robert Mitchum and sparks fly. What happens thereafter is what the movie is about. It's yet another delightful movie, and especially significant because in this particular movie, a lot of dramatic things happen at the Christmas dinner, and that's the point where the movie really takes off and just gets elevated to a different height. It's a fabulous scene, the Christmas dinner scene in the movie The Holiday Affair. That's at number 9 in my list. At number 8 in my list is a movie which is slightly away from the sugary, syrupy, feel-good movies that we see during the holiday seasons and Christmas. It's a movie titled Black Christmas, but it's actually a serial killer movie. It's a slasher movie about a serial killer who kills one by one members of a sorority house leading up to the day of Christmas. Black Christmas has over the years, it's from 1974, Black Christmas, but over the years it has developed a cult status, and a lot of filmmakers cite the example of Black Christmas as a huge influence on their cinema. One of them being the makers of Halloween, who have said that they were greatly inspired by Black Christmas. So just to cut away slightly from the sugary, feel-good holiday mood comes Black Christmas is the movie on my list. At number 7 is again a romantic comedy called Remember the Night, and it stars Fred MacMurray and Barbara Steinweg. Of course, we all know that Fred MacMurray and Barbara Steinweg starred a couple of years later in the all-time classic, The Double Indemnity. But this movie is from 1940, and it's a movie where Fred MacMurray plays a DA, and he catches a petty thief, Barbara Steinweg, gets her out on bail and offers to drive her to her home in Indiana. And it's during this drive that the chemistry between two of them become evident, and they find falling in love with each other. They find that they're falling in love with each other. It's a delightful romantic movie. Remember the Night is at number 7 in my list. At number 6 is perhaps the movie least known in this list of mine. It's a Scottish movie from the 80s, from 1984, I think, and it's called Comfort and Joy, directed by Bill Forsyth. It stars Bill Patterson as this lonely man who's been dumped just before Christmas, and he is just feeling miserable and at an all-time personal low. And what happens is he finds himself inexplicably caught in the middle of a war, of a battle of two ice cream vendors. And it's a completely bizarre situation that he finds himself in, and he doesn't know how to react to this. And either he can, be further driven to his hole that he already is in, or he can shake it off and come out a stronger and happier man. It's a beautiful movie. It's a wonderful movie. Not very often discussed or very well known in that sense. It's from 1984 and it's called Comfort and Joy, and it's number 6 on my list. At number 5 is a perennially classic Christmas movie from 1947. It's called It Happened on Fifth Avenue. It's a tad melodramatic, it's a tad sentimental, but I think it's a movie which has its heart in its right place, and it's a classic depiction of the haves and have-nots of society. And personally, I think this movie gets elevated to a greater height because of the performance of one of the lead stars of the movie, Victor Moore. He simply carries the movie on his shoulders, and it's a wonderful watch. At number 5, It Happened on Fifth Avenue. At number 4 is another delightful romantic comedy, and it stars Margaret Sullivan and James Stewart, and it's called The Shop Around the Corner. It's a 1940 movie, but it has had so many adaptations and so many remakes. In fact, the most famous of them would be You've Got Mail, starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. But the original is this one, The Shop Around the Corner. And it's about this man and woman who work in the same office and absolutely cannot stand each other. And unknown to them, they're also pen pals who are secretly falling in love with one another. It's a beautiful movie, Shop Around the Corner, starring Margaret Sullivan and James Stewart. It's at number 5 in my list. Number 4 in my list, sorry. At number 3 is yet another movie which I think is in everyone's best Christmas lists. And this one is called Meet Me in St. Louis. It's from 1944 and stars Judy Garland, Astor Margaret, and amongst others. And what better Christmas movie than to have Judy Garland sing "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas." It just makes it the perfect Christmas movie. Meet Me at St. Louis is number 3 on my list. At number 2 in my list is a movie which is an all-time favorite and would perhaps make it to any list of mine, irrespective of the genre. And it's Rob Reiner's classic rom-com, When Harry Met Sally, starring Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal. And a wonderful, wonderful movie about, friends and that slightly thin line between friendship and love, and what happens when two friends of over 14 and 15 years of friendship, finally cross that line and fall in love with one another. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, and definitely in my Christmas list, because Christmas plays such an important part in the movie, and a lot of significant happenings of the movie take place during the Christmas time. So it's there at number 2 in my list, When Harry Met Sally. That leaves me with the final movie, and it's not just my number 1 Christmas movie, but perhaps will be there in my list of all-time favorite movies in any case. And it's the 1946 Frank Capra classic, It's a Wonderful Life, starring James Stewart. It's such a beautiful movie. It's such a warm, feel-good, positive, and life-affirming movie. And James Stewart gives in the performance of his lifetime, I think, in It's a Wonderful Life. He plays George Bailey, a man down and out, and he wants to end his life because he feels he has nothing to live for, and he's of no use to anyone in society or his family. And then he's met by the angel, played brilliantly by Henry Travers, who tells him and who shows him how much the world would be a poorer place without someone like him. It's a wonderful movie, one of my favorite Frank Capra movies, and definitely one of my most favorite movies of all time, and number 1 in my Christmas list. It's a Wonderful Life. Well, so these were my top 12 favorite movies during Christmas. I hope you've liked this list, and if there are some movies which you've not seen from this list, do try and see them. You won't be disappointed. And in case you have a few movies which I have missed out and not spoken about, do mention them in the comment section, and I'll definitely check it out. That's all for this week, and wishing all of you a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year ahead, and joy to all of you and your families and friends and loved ones. And until the next time, bye for now.